Um, I am gonna paint this ugly mug for the protest tomorrow. I'm going to the No Kings protest. I always, when I go to protests, want to make my own signs and be really creative, and I struggle. And today I was thinking about it as I was working on a client project, and I thought I should make something that'll be fun for me to paint, while also um, kind of like, I don't know, I think I get really caught up in, like, being overly funny or communicative, and so I'm painting Donald Trump as Marie Antoinette eating cake, and that's gonna be my protest sign because that sounded fun to me. So, I figured we'd paint together. It's not gonna I mean, I have to finish it in, today. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll finish it, but I'm gonna try to make some big um, leaps. I want it to still feel like my style. I want it to be quick. Um, so I have some reference photos pulled up on my computer of Marie Antoinette. Not photos necessarily, but like paintings. And then I have some uh, Donnie photos pulled up for me to check out. No one wants to paint his face, but here we are. Um, but yeah, is anyone else going to the protest tomorrow? Um, I'm going to bring us down. Also, if you haven't joined before when I do a live stream, you can see more if you have it on your computer. And I will post this later and I'll post it horizontally. But I figured we'd just make a protest poster together. My plan is this is like it's some jacked up watercolor paper that I had at the bottom of my drawer and had intended for something else and messed up. So I'm just painting on top of it. Um, and so I'm going to get some cardboard and just like glue this on top of some cardboard. And I might even put some holes, 2 holes in the top and wear it around my neck, rather than like on a thing, so that I can kind of have both my hands as well tomorrow. So just some practical thoughts. I painted this like a teal. The plan is we're going to finish getting the line drawing down. I'm just using acrylic gouache. I have like a pencil drawing underneath, and I'm making his head a little bit bigger. He's going to be in drag as Marie Antoinette. So, and then it'll be like a let him eat cake. I don't know if I'm going to put words. If I do put words, I might just put no kings like on either side of his face, or along the bottom. But I haven't decided yet. So anyway, let's do this together. I'm going to set Trudy down. She might bark at some point. Please know that she is alive and well and doing wonderfully. But Dave's going to be leaving to go to the gym and she gets worked up. I'm going to try to make it so she doesn't do that, but dogs are dogs. And I think Fern will be fine. He just got a bath, so he's snuggled up. But for the line work, I'm using number 1 pencil. It's like a liner pencil, so it's really long. It just makes when I do larger line drawings and paint a lot easier. So that is what I'm using. We're going to do this part down here, which will be kind of, I'm putting him in like a Marie Antoinette, like puffy dress. You won't really be able to see a ton of it. And then this is going to be a like very fun cake that I'm excited to paint. And he's going to have some cake on his mouth. And he'll be holding this cake plate with like maybe some French ornamentation that has like eagles or something. I'm not really sure. Again, I just want to make something that's fun, while also showing up tomorrow with a sign that feels exciting. So that's kind of the mindset. If you are going to the protest tomorrow and you're wanting to make a sign, you do not have to do this. You can literally just show up and not have a sign. You can show up and have a sign that you painted in 2 seconds on the back of a piece of cardboard with some acrylic paint. You can use all sorts of different things. This is just what I'm doing as I take a break from some client work. And I don't know how it'll turn out. We'll see. But I have a little time today. Um, but other than the hellscape, how's everyone doing? I watched. What did I watch? I watched The Accountant last night with Ben Affleck. Oh, I don't know what made me choose The Accountant. I actually hadn't heard anything about it, which should have been my indicator that it was not going to be good. Um, but Dave and I watched The Accountant. We did not finish it. It is bad. I don't know how they're going to rectify. I love a B movie, like love. I love a poorly executed um, B movie. I love Lifetime movies. I love when the storyline isn't all the way figured out. I love when I'm not quite sure, what's happening and I have to sort it out. I'm all in. But this movie was bad. Um, we were not only was it like offensive about autism, but also just super strange. It just felt like the writing, either the people producing it just did not take the time, or the writing was super bad. But so if you're thinking about watching The Accountant, um, I don't know, you can, and just be warned, it's not good. I want this to read. Okay, we can do this. And some of this might get covered. Um, let's see. So we got cake. I'm gonna make it like there's gonna be a lot of light blue and then red. Light blue for Marie Antoinette, red for this Republican asshole. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's gonna happen. So he's gonna be wearing his red tie. And then he's gonna have this kind of like bustier vibe, um, Marie Antoinette dress, which I'm excited to paint. I'll probably just paint everything in blocks of color and then go in and add details to it. Hey, Fern, stop. Fern, it's foxtail season, so Fern gets not just foxtails, but whatchamacallem, like burrs in his fur. I've never had a dog with long fur before, and so I didn't realize that this is a thing that you have to deal with. So after we get done, I just bathed him, and he just got done with a walk with me, and he's been licking his paws a lot. I check him to make sure he doesn't have foxtails and stuff, so don't worry. Um, in case you were concerned. Also, if you don't want to join because you don't want to see Donald Trump's face, I totally get it. I can't stand this man. But mm-mm. And also, when I do this, I know most of this is going to get covered up. So I'm just kind of like letting myself find it. Those little sticky things are wild. We used to have a toy poodle, and her curly fur would pick them up daily. Oh, so tough, Jade. We dog sat. Dave does dog walking and dog boarding. If you live in the Sunset and you need someone to dog walk or dog board, he's awesome. But we took in this adorable little, like, she must be like a poodle mix. I don't think that they actually know what she is, but it was like endless. And Fern is bad, but she was like crazy. Thanks, Emily. Yeah, it is good to be playful in dark times. I think we have to like laugh in some way, even if it's, we can do both. We can find joy, we can have fun. We got to have fun. We got to laugh. We got to couple it with some action. That's the thing I got to remind myself. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to show up. Right? Otherwise, okay, let's see. So his mouth is disgusting, but we're going to do this and yeah, laugh so we don't cry, Jade. That's freaking right. I saw I think you made a comment, Jade, about and I forgot to respond because I am not super great at responding on Substack yet. But I saw you had said you were also struggling with making the lives horizontal. Did you figure it out? I don't know what changed for me, but I can do it now. Okay, so we're gonna do, and I do want his hair to be like, I can't do the full updo, but I was thinking I might add some feathers. I'll bring you up here. So I'm gonna try, and I'm just grabbing, let me show you. I'm just grabbing this like lavendery, misty lavender color and using a lot of water, and then using this liner brush. And I like using this when I'm going to be layering up. It's a quick way to get my drawing down. I do often use like a whatchamacallit pencil, but it's hard to see the pencil sometimes. And then it's hard to see the pencil like underneath layers of paint. And it's a little easier here. Oh, I haven't tried another live yet, but Substack wouldn't make mine horizontal for some reason. So, okay. So you might be able to fix this if you've published it, but you might not be able to fix it if you published it, but you could try. And I'm just sharing this because it took me a while to sort it out. But you have to go into the video editing portion. Like, I do it. So at the end of this, it'll ask me if I want to publish it right away. And I say no. And then I go in and edit it afterwards. And you go to the live. Or you go to the video editing, which is at the right-hand side of the video screen. And you click on that and you have to click landscape. And then it'll switch it to landscape. You may have already done that, in which case I apologize. But if you didn't do that, I struggled at finding it. So I thought I would share. Let me see if I can do these bows. So we'll have some feathers. And again, because I want to finish this, it is a little bit Robin Hood-y, but I will make sure those are white. It's because this freaking toupee looks so stupid. We'll put some bows and then it won't. Some Marie Antoinette bows. I did also want to, I've talked about this over the years, about what activism looks like. Some people can't go and protest. And, You don't have to if that is you. You don't have to explain why you can't go. You don't have to do any of that. You can find other ways to resist. So just want to kind of like highlight that. So if you're feeling some type of way because you can't go tomorrow, maybe you have work. I used to have to work a lot during protest times. Um, and it would always like bum me out, but you can find other ways of being active. I heard someone say recently, like, go uh, drive by the protests and just honk as a means of support. Um, and I loved that because I hadn't thought of that as like a way to support. So, maybe you can't be there in person, or you could be there in person, but it doesn't feel safe, or you got kids or whatever. Um, just wanted to put that out there. Okay, we got our drawing down. I think this feels good. I'm going to try to, one of these days, I will remember to adjust this properly. Okay, we're going to paint this all kind of like a lighter blue. I want maybe not periwinkle blue. Let's find the right blue. I want it to be that kind of like Kristen Dunst, Marie Antoinette color. Um, it's kind of like, it's not periwinkle. It's kind of like a sky blue. And we can go a little darker, and then I can add highlights to make the fabric feel like it's shiny. Yeah, give it a shot, Jade. It might work. But also, it might not. And I'm just going to get as much color down as I can. And my initial thought is like I shouldn't have him blue, but I want it to read as Marie Antoinette, so that's what I'm going to do. We can always change it later, but I don't think I'm going to. That's the other thing that I wanted to kind of talk about. When I was younger and I would participate in protests or even just like talk politics like publicly like this, I would get really concerned about correctness. And I think like, especially so like, for example, thinking about making this blue and just, I don't know, sending the wrong signals and um being worried that people are going to get mad at you or interpret things wrong. And I would just say, like, don't worry about that. It's okay. If someone misinterprets you, that's not like the end of the world. You can always have a conversation or whatever. But more often than not, you showing up with a sign to protest sends the biggest signal. So just wanted to kind of share that. And I think like just being open to conversation in general, rather than feeling like you have to enter into these spaces with a notion that you are correct or that you're right all the time. I think like when I was younger, I used to feel like I better be right or I better know everything first before kind of like engaging in protest or engaging in talks about politics. And over the years and as I've gotten older, I've realized it's actually not about me knowing everything and instead being open to conversation with others and being willing to concede when maybe I was wrong about something. So, um, if talking about politics feels really difficult or it gives you anxiety, that might be an easier way to think about it. So this is like a thin layer. I'm just getting color down, and then I'll go in and like add some like patterning and fun details. Not because I want Trump to look beautiful, but because I want to have a fucking good time making this. Um, so don't get confused. Also, everything just feels dumb right now, and that's okay too. Um, it's really hard to show up for all the mundane things, which is understandable. Um, Nothing feels quite as important as like all of the horrific things going on in the world. And right now is a kind of like inflection point, and it's important to show up. But, don't forget to take a shower. It's okay to kind of take care of yourself too, so that you can show up for all of these things, right? We know this. Take care of yourself so you can take care of your community. And maybe you're someone who needs care being or to be cared for right now, and that's all right. Ask for help. There's no shame in that. All right. I'm gonna make this part lighter, so I'm not gonna paint it right now. And also, in these moments when I'm painting like actual figures like Marie Antoinette, I feel like my tendency is to feel like there's a correct pattern or correct way to paint the dress. Like I'm like looking at these like paintings of her in her outfits, and they're all different. They're all kind of like I don't know. I almost feel like they're they're probably not made up, but they seem a little bit made up. So why can't I make it up a little bit too? Like we can do the blue puffy sleeves. I'm gonna add some like lace trim on here afterwards and have like some fun details, but I'm not gonna worry about this being correct. And maybe you're like, we get it, Lindsay. That's just a question I get a lot from students. So I always want to kind of talk that through. But you can make things up. Hi, guys. How's everyone doing? It's Friday. I went to the library to drop off books, and I was chatting with this older gentleman who was outside and trying to figure out when the library opened. And so I was looking on my phone for him to like see if there were other libraries close by that maybe were going to be opening sooner. And and I was like, "Oh, it looks like this one's open at 10." And I was like, "Nope, it's Friday." Like, sorry. I don't know why I keep thinking it's like Wednesday or something. Okay, so now I'm mixing up. I'll bring you over if I can. I'm mixing up some. Oh, actually, I'll do it this way. I'll put it on top of here. It's kind of dry. I'm mixing up some Trump skin, which I want to kind of like push a little bit. It's not going to look. I mean, first of all, I don't really paint skin like skin anyway, so we can just let go of that dream. But I do want this to be like a little bit orange. And again, I'm painting it just like pretty flat, and then I'll go in and accentuate areas. Maybe I want this to be a little paler. I'm just adding a little bit of white. I can always go back. Is anyone else making signs for tomorrow? If so, what are you making? Are you making something else? Maybe you're not going tomorrow. Tell me what you're up to. Or if you have questions, you can ask questions. We can chat about whatever. Happy to talk about it. Oh, yeah, I wanted to go over the part where the lace will be so that that can show through. I'm gonna let this, like, ugly purpley color show through. Why not? I heard from a couple of people who've emailed me in the last couple of weeks to tell me that when I do the live streams, they've been going through some stuff and it's just really helpful and soothing. And I think I knew, like, I definitely seek out YouTube videos when I'm needing to like calm down or not calm down, but like needing some soothing thing to watch. Like I love watching other people make things. Like I have a couple favorite YouTube channels that I'll put on. And I guess I just didn't really think of me as being a soothing space. So if that is for you, if that's true for you, awesome. I'm happy to be able to do that. Sorry that the camera's shaking. It's hard because it's on this like weird little tripod. Okay. So this is skin. So just remember that. All right, we're gonna throw a little bit more white in here. This hand doesn't feel right, but I'm just gonna do it anyway, and then we can always change it later. And I mean, let's see. There we go. And this is an old ass brush. It's one of my favorites. It's a 6, Simply Simmons, but it's one of my favorites because it's so old. The tip is like frayed, and I feel like it covers more area, and that's why I like it. Let me move this up. And again, for those of you who are just joining, it is always easier to see the things that I'm painting if you watch from a computer screen, just because it allows me to have, or allows you to have the full horizontal view. So if you're on your phone and you have the option, switch over and it might be a little bit easier to see. That's what's going to make this hand better. We're going to extend this finger. So it'll be like this. And it'll actually feel like it's doing a normal hand movement. Yeah. Right. I guess we can paint his tie. Oh, actually, let's just do his face real quick. I'm going to keep the face really thin. I can build it up more later, but I think if I keep it really thin with water, it'll make it easier for me to see the sketch underneath. So I'm just grabbing a bunch of water, and I'll be grabbing water each time I go to extend the paint. Just so that it stays translucent. And then we can build up the highlights once it dries. Are you using acrylic? Yeah, I'm using acrylic gouache just because it's a little faster and more vibrant than regular gouache. Not to be a hater, but sometimes with regular gouache, it can be, a little more work to get it to be vibrant. and I don't have the time. Let me bring you down, bring you up. Every time I see this drawing, it really cracks me up. All right. It's a little paler. That's fine. Let's grab a little more orange. And for those who are just joining, this is a protest poster for tomorrow's No Kings March. And I am painting Trump as Marie Antoinette. Just because I feel like it. Because I feel like it's funny and kind of meets the point. I think I'll write No Kings on both sides, but I'm not positive yet. Let's grab a little more white. I'm afraid to set it down because there's just so much wet space right now, but I will eventually have it so that the palette is in a place where you can see it, I promise. Is anyone working on anything cool right now? It doesn't have to be anything related to the protests. All right. We'll let that dry. Also, the drawing right now is a little difficult to see kind of up in this area, but there's not a ton there. So I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit. But I can see most of it. And from experience of doing this with the dark background and then the light line work, as it dries, you'll be able to see some of this stuff a little bit better. Now for the hair, let's see. We're going to do like a yellow. Also, I'm protesting donating. I've been joining drawing sessions that collect donations because I often get overwhelmed about who to support, where, and where to donate. I love that. Jade, that's great. Yeah, it can be overwhelming for sure. And I think again, we can get caught up in that feeling of correctness when it comes to that. But I think that is a perfect example, Jade, of doing the thing that comes naturally to you. You like to draw, and is a way of being engaged in activism and in your community. Very cool. All right, we're gonna do this. We're going to keep it thin. This is where kind of the mid to dark tone background does a lot of work for us. Because if we keep it thin, then we can go in and add, hair details later if we want to, if we have time. Sometimes it's not about if we have time, Lindsay. Mm-mm-mm. And this is like the part of the process where I start to feel like this whole thing is shit. But I know that it's going to start coming together if I just stick with it. I'm listening to a really good book if you like horror apocalypse type books. Maybe that feels too real. But I'm reading this book called The Loop. And I can't remember the author's name. It's on my phone, otherwise I would tell you right now. I usually am listening to an audiobook and then reading a book, and the audiobook is The Loop right now, and it's really good. It's like about a group of teenagers. It's a little bit like it reminds me of Stranger Things a little bit. Um but also like a zombie movie, like we just watched 28 Days Later, a little bit like that. It's great. The writing's good. A lot of times I struggle with audiobooks with the narrators, but the narrator's really good. And don't worry, right now, Donald Trump's face looks, like, really smooth. Uh-oh. It says my internet connection's unstable. We'll see if it lets me keep going. I know, Steph, the narrator, whew, sometimes it can really ruin a book for me. Um, but I was gonna say, don't worry, like, Donald Trump's face is looking very, 1980s Donald Trump, like, very smooth, but we're gonna be adding wrinkles and things to it. We'll age him. Um, we're just getting our base layers down. I think I have to go in here. And then I think the other book I'm listening to, or reading, not listening to, mix up the name of it with the TV show, but I think it's the last murder at the end of the world, is what it's called. So, and it's really good. Also sci-fi, not really horror, but definitely a mystery, and great, a great read. This is acrylic gouache. This is my Stay Wet palette. And we're just getting base layers down, and then we're gonna go through and kind of, like, add details, and depending on the time, I might have to do the details tomorrow, but we're gonna get as much done as we can. So we're gonna add the bow and the feathers, and I wanna look at my girl, Marie, this crazy bitch. Alright. We're gonna do I want the bow to match this, um, and I'm gonna do it that same color, and, I'll add highlights to kind of kick it back. Right now, it's, like, very blue. I want it to be kind of like a misty, softer blue, but that'll happen through the highlights. So, I'm just treating this like one big shape. Um, and then he's gonna have a red tie on, like, and I do think there's something nice about there being red and blue, um, and I love having him in drag. Mm-mm. And we'll go in and tidy up some of this, but right now it's almost like color by numbers at this point once I get a drawing down, and then I can go through and kind of pull things forward and push things back. And, protest posters, There's a reason that they have a long history and connection to like screen printing and um, like risograph and things that are quicker media than painting. But I'm just doing this because I want to. So, you know, I'm kind of doing the thing that I always freaking do, which is making more work for myself. But I thought that this would be fun for me. Have something that's for me when I'm holding it around and waving it around. And this concept just felt really funny. I normally struggle with protest posters, just like I always struggle with Halloween costumes. I'm the worst at Halloween costumes. Never met anyone worse than me, I can guarantee it. The sketch is in gouache. I used just like a thin liner brush and did the sketch in paint. And then it can show through with the thin layers in some of the more detailed areas, like in the face. Yes. And I'll do this guy. Has it been white paint for your other paintings? I thought it was I've done I've done all sorts of different ways, Jade. There, as soon as I find a way that I like, then I change my method a little bit or I tweak it. But this is just the one I'm using currently. Um, I feel like for a long time I was like drawing everything out, like it not necessarily for this, but like if I was working through a composition, like the ones that I've been doing to accompany my writing. I'll like work through the composition in tracing paper, then I'll make my own graphite paper and do that. But then the issue I keep running into is then I cover it all up with paint. And so I don't see the details anymore. So, I've just been always trying to find solutions, I guess. Um, let's see, we'll do this little corset area in a lighter kind of lavendery blue. But you were not wrong, Jade. Oh, you're not able to see that. Here we go. Definitely if it's for a client, like if I'm doing client work, I used transfer paper and tracing paper. Um, and the transfer paper I always make my own rather than using like a Seural or something like that, just because I don't like the way that's chalky. It's even harder to see. Um, but when I'm doing client work, it's usually like I have to stick pretty closely to the sketch that they approved, and so I'll use a more exacting way, like tracing paper. Dun 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 dun. Okay, now we're gonna do the tie, then we'll do the cake, and then we'll do the plate. Um, and then we'll see what time it is. Um, it's a great solution. I'm loving graphite transfer paper right now. I can cut it really small and it lasts forever. It lasts forever. I just use like a big graphite stick and make my own transfer paper. And it lasts. I use the same one for forever. So for the tie, this red is tough. because it's a little bit translucent. So I'm gonna get a little bit of white and we'll put down kind of like a pinky orangey red, and then I can go on top of it and make it brighter. And I'm adding the white because the white makes it a little more opaque. You could paint underneath this with white, but I don't like the way that looks sometimes. It'll just feel like a little too disconnected from everything else. Okay. And again, we're just breaking it down into shapes. Each thing that I'm drawing, I'm not worried about. I'm just getting all of the paint down for it. And then we can worry about details and highlights and all that stuff later. The purple that's in the background will kind of behave as a means of creating like shadows for each of the colors. Or at least that's the way I'm thinking about it. So then my responsibility is really just kind of like bringing out the midtones and highlights. My responsibility. Ta-da! And I'll add like a little more red on the top layer. It's a little too orange. Let me see if I have a better red. I usually use like a vermilion, but let's use scarlet. Yeah, I think that's going to be better. Although I like this coral color right now if we're talking about actual color combinations, but I want it to read a little more red. It's going to fade into Donnie's orange skin. Sick. Right. And we'll get to the cake part. God, he's... all right. Let's see. I'm going to bring it in a little bit. Again, if you are just joining, you can see this all a little bit better on a desktop. So if you have access to one, I'll try to keep whatever I'm painting like pretty centered, but let me know if it's not. Okay. Let's see, we'll do this, I think. Can't be too precious with it. Let's do this. Actually, I think it'll make it easier for you to see what I'm mixing. So for the cake, I want it to be pink, I think. Mm, maybe maybe we'll do the same color as his hair for the cake part with, like, a lighter kind of lavendery blue frosting. We'll see. We are gonna try. I got a smaller. This is like a 4, so the last one was a 6, but it was also really old and frayed. Um, I like this one for kind of like still covering a lot of area, but having a little more control. Then we're gonna go right here. And then we'll add like roses and stuff to it. And then the plate, I'm gonna kind of try to add like floral decorations as if it's a um like French dish, like those kind of what's the term for those types of dishes where it has like a little bit of like a delicate floral, but I'm gonna make them American symbols, I mean. So like an eagle, maybe a quail. My grandma has quail dishes. Really American. Mm-mm-mm. And then I was gonna leave that but what we'll do is highlight the top so it reads like it's the top. So we'll keep everything kind of on the same tone. And my brain is a little fried, so I can't come up with like discussion topics off the top of my head other than what I already shared. So if you have questions or anything, you just let me know because I'm happy to chat, but I've run out. Um, so for this will do like a pink. Mm, but like a really light one. And this is always like a cold pink. This is pink from Holbein. And I want it to be a little. Yeah, of course, Julia. Melissa, I love a 101 question. Paint 101. This is acrylic gouache. So I'm using acrylic gouache because sometimes the thing that annoys me about acrylic gouache is that it's just so punchy, the colors. So I have to do a ton of color mixing to kind of like kick it back. But since this is a like parade sign, like a protest sign, parade. Not a parade, is a protest sign. I'll be able to I want it to be a little bit punchier, so not a bad thing. I want it to have kind of those bold colors, come a little easier. I'll do a little red. Okay, we'll try that. Again, I mixed up so much paint, it was like pretty opaque. I still want it to be pretty thin because I like to build the opacity through layers. It just makes it easier to give depth when you start that way. And this is still going to be like a quick painting. I'm going to try to kind of deepen this a little bit. You may have shown it at the beginning, but I want to see how your baseball piece is coming along. Do you sketch at the stadium or take reference photos? So fun. Yeah, I definitely take photos and I sketch at the stadium. I love baseball. I love sports in general. I was a college athlete, and my dad is a huge sports fanatic, and we just grew up in a sports household. So I love sports, and I love going to professional sports. And I try to go to Giants games like at least once a month during the season. Um, and I probably go to more Giants games at the beginning of the season right after basketball ends because I'm grieving the end of basketball and I need to get into baseball, which might sound nuts, but if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But anyway, so I bring my sketchbook usually, and sometimes I'm good about sketching. I love going to a game by myself. When I go by myself, I'm really good about drawing. When I'm with other people, I just like socializing with everyone as well as watching the game. So it's hard, but yeah. So I have it right here. Actually, I drew that. And then this is pretty much done. I just have to add this guy's face and his beer. And then maybe some details to kind of the backs of the jerseys. But and then I wanted to add the slogan, which is so dumb, but it's nothing like it, which I'd put up here. Like kind of the thing or get loud is the other thing that they put and then I'll put like a couple of baseball players. So I'm not done, but I'm pretty close. I'll put some baseball players out here as well. But yeah, those are like easy little details to add in because the baseball players will be tiny. But yeah, big baseball fan. I'm like a hopeful, optimistic fan. I really hate like all the negative stuff online from people like on Instagram. I mean, I hate it for everything, but I definitely feel like I notice it a lot more in like sports spaces where people just get like so pissed about stuff. And it's like, this is supposed to be fun, you guys. I get pissed about stuff too. I like winning, but in general, let's just have a good time. Um, thanks, Emily. Yeah, I really like the combination of that green with that orange. That like teal green with orange is always really fun. And the smalt blue with that also worked out. It was a fun piece. I might try to do it in oil and maybe change some parts of it, but do it bigger and in oil just because I'm trying really hard to use oils, but I still don't quite understand how to use them. So I feel like since I understand the color in that so well, that might be a fun thing for me to try. Maybe what we'll do is make this a little darker so we can have like kind of the recessed. It needs to be warmer. There we go. This recessed area might even need to be darker than that. Yeah, I think it would be fun. Thanks, Emily. I was painting outside a bunch last year, and I started this year with my oils, I mean, and I started this year, but it's already so cold. Um, it gets really cold out here in the summer. So I'm trying to figure out what my painting setup looks like this year. It's hard for me to do oil paintings during the school year just because they take so much time. Um, and I'm usually balancing client work and teaching at the college. So it feels like summers are my oil painting times. Okay. I don't think that did anything. All right. Let's zoom out. Oh, I gotta do this little arm. The way that this feels like in person, I don't know if it's translating necessarily through the camera, is like because this is cold press paper and because we're kind of like letting the background show through, it feels like pastel paper almost. Um, so it's getting like a funny pastel paper vibe, but I'm going to do this color blue, but just a little lighter. Trudy's making movements, so if she gets up and tries to start barking, I'm going to have to go soothe her. Just a heads up. Maybe she was just resettling. Dun, dun, dun. That feels right. All right. So now we got this freak. Let's do. I kind of want to start. I like to start kind of like back to front. I'm not going to do the face right now. I might do that tomorrow or later tonight. But let's do some highlights and then start to figure out where the folds of the fabric are going to be in the shoulders, and add some lace here. And then figure out, I want to do like a tiny little floral pattern on these parts. It's just for us, you guys. No one's going to see that at the protest, but I think it would be fun. So I'm going to mix up. So since this is kind of our mid-tone, I really like this part here where you can see the kind of thinner blue where this color is showing through. And then this more opaque, lighter blue kind of acts as a highlight. So we're going to try to imitate that in a bunch of these different parts. And also, there's just like a natural, like this it already has a line here. I didn't intend to do that, but I'm going to make that a fold. I'm going to have like a couple of different folds. And then that way we know how to tuck florals or the pattern into it. Okay. Just going to make this blue a little lighter and add a little more water to it. It's more white. Any other questions? Or things you want to chat about? Happy to chat about whatever. So the hardest part when doing this is just making it fade into the other color a little easier. It doesn't need to be. You just need it to be like kind of soft. When is your next painting class? I'm going to be teaching one of my drawing classes Mirror, Mirror, at Case for Making in July, and it's about using your own body as reference for drawing bodies. So we'll be like, I haven't ever taught it in person. I've only ever taught it over Zoom. So then I I am kind of the quote unquote like model for how to do that. But this will be fun because it'll be in person and everyone uses their camera on their phone to kind of like sort out how to take a video of themselves and then sort through those videos to find like bodily references for the drawings that we're doing. And we talk about the body and how the body moves. It'll be fun. Let's see what else. Just oh yeah, happy to, Karen. Would also love to know about your classes. The online ones, so I'll be doing oh, you're a dancer, Melissa. Yeah. So for online, I'll do I actually am right now in the process of trying to figure out what classes I'm going to teach for the rest of the year, virtually and in person, because I'm trying to just kind of map that all out so that I don't feel like I'm doing it just last minute all the time. Right now, I feel like with teaching at the college, I keep having these moments where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll figure that out, or oh yeah, I haven't posted an online class, so then I post like one and have an idea for what the next one is. And this is just like me being transparent with you guys. It does feel a little bit like, oh, people want a class, or oh, I haven't taught a class, or oh, I would like to teach a class. So then I just like will put them up and it's not quite as planned as it could be. So I'm working on planning that stuff. And I haven't figured out what the remainder of the summer the classes will be, but I definitely am going to teach a few more. I have night class coming up, which is going to be like I've taught it a few times, but if you don't know what it is, it's like a 6-month cohort. Basically, we meet twice a month for 2 hours. And an hour of that time is just like working on whatever creative projects you have. And then, yeah, I love that. Sorry, I just read, as a French woman, I have to encourage you to remind Trump how Marie Antoinette ended. Oh, I love it. I have an urge to incorporate like blood as the filling for the cake, or, be gory, but I also really do want to make sure that the protests, not that I have anything to do with it, but that I'm participating in a peaceful way, and I don't want to encourage any sort of like violence, but oh boy, do I want to do that. That really made me laugh. But so yeah, night class is coming up. We'll be doing like meeting twice a month for 6 months to kind of like have time to work together, but then also like it's a really lovely space to kind of encourage each other through practice. So this last cohort was 11 people, I believe. And, everyone's got all sorts of stuff going on. Some people work full time outside of their art. Some people make money off of their art. Some people have kids and families. And so everyone's kind of experience of what it is to be a creative and what they're showing up for and how that feels is different, but it's also very much the same. And so it's pretty neat to like spend time talking about that. Put them in jail, that's right. Um, it is like really a nice way to kind of like remind ourselves that we're not alone in our creative practice. We do a lot of conversations about, like how money participates in our creativity, if it does at all, which I think is like a really important conversation to have. Like, I think A lot of creative people think that they're only really artists if they make money on their work, and so we talk about that. Um, let's see. Yeah. Anyway, if you want to know more about that, you can always hit me up and we can chat about it. But I agree. Username hippo, which I love. That would be a great start. Jail. Stunning that he's avoided it with 34 felonies. Okay. And this is when things start to feel like they have a life. We've got movement. Oh, I know what I want to do a little bit, actually. We're going to do this differently. I like these lines, but they feel a little bit too fine and like they're going to take too long. So I'm going to grab a little bit of white paint. I'm going to make it pretty translucent, and I want it to be a lot whiter than we are going to do this. And then once it starts drying a little bit, I'll go through and have it overlap, so that it starts to feel like it's got layers of translucency. Mm-mm. I like that a lot better. That feels festive. Um, I want to also add some of these highlights here. So we'll kind of do this a little bit, have it feel a little bit billowy here. Ta-da! All right. So now for a tiny floral. Let's see. I wanted to do something like pink, maybe. How often do you do these live paintings, and what inspires you to go live versus being in your own private making cave? Good question, Melissa. I try to do a couple a month since I started doing it, which I think was just like a month and a half ago. My goal would be to do a couple a month, but sometimes if I'm working on something that I'm not quite sure about yet, I need to be solo. Or if I'm like listening to an audiobook and I'm kind of in the groove, going live can kind of disrupt that. But for this is like playful and kind of low stakes. And honestly, doing it live makes me move faster through it. Um, so, it actually feels like a nice way to do it. It's almost like its own little self-imposed deadline. Like I got to get moving. I can't sit around and think about doing it. So in that way, doing the live streams feels fun. I get to do it with you. But Yeah, so I'll do the flowers probably last since we don't really have to have that. I am gonna work on the cake so it pulls forward a little bit more away from, the plate, just so you know what I'm doing. Um, but good question, Melissa. If anyone has if you have more questions, other questions, don't be shy. Yeah, I enjoy the live streams. It's really fun to get to kind of like work through things with you guys. And also during the pandemic, I did a bunch of live streams all on Instagram. They're lost to time because Instagram sucks. But it was such a fun way to connect to everyone. And I do, for some reason, I'm capable of doing it, chatting with you all and painting at the same time. I don't know why. Um, it feels fun and easy. And when it's not fun and easy, then I just don't do it. Right. And there was a period of time, maybe in 22, 23, and even last year, where I just could not bring myself to do a lot of live streaming or video making or sharing of my process. And I think it was because I was a little burnt out. And also because I was working at the college and it was requiring so much of my brain space. Um, but, you know, I've kind of reached a point where the college doesn't feel quite as hard. I've developed all those classes. I feel a lot more comfortable. Um, Also, I had way less client work this year and last year. I have in a long time. It's just a little more space to do it. And I really like when people maybe not paint live, but share their process more. Like I love it. I wish younger people got to see more people work that way, like my students. So I just think about also wanting to have more of that. This is ridiculous. Um, so for the frosting, I'm gonna try to mix up this lavendery blue color, but we'll keep it kind of this mid-tone on the side and then have the top be brighter. And this, since it's frosting, fun to kind of let it be a little bit painty. So a little thicker, just grabbing like white paint and bringing it in. Where's everyone joining from? Where are you at? What time is it where you're at? It is what time is it here? That's not right. It's 2:05 here. I do have to go work on a client project. Ew. No, it's a fun one. It's just digital, so I'm doing some elements of it digitally, and so I was looking at my computer for a long time and needed a break. I think we'll do like a these colors don't seem right. 11 p.m. in Paris, 5:06 in Atlanta, 4 p.m. Northern Illinois. Love it. I almost said Illinois. So annoying. All right. I love that. I like hearing where you guys are from, what you're doing, or where you're joining from, I should say. I do. 207 in Portland. Yeah, happy to be sharing, and I'm glad that it helps to work through your things too. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to maybe draw some of the things that I'm planning on doing for the pattern making. Um, since like most of my drawing is covered up at this point, I'm just going to kind of go back in and draw some of the things out so that I don't get lost. I'm going to use this kind of like white blue again, or Marie Antoinette white. And I need my liner brush. Where are you? I think this is it. Yeah, I'm gonna do a little drip. I like that, Kristen, for sure. It's the liner brush. Bad call, Lindsay. That's all right. We'll go in and add a detail. This feels very like Interview with the Vampire. I don't know why. Cracking me up. All right. So let's add, let me do a tiny little quail. Put in more white so it stands out. And then I'll go through and paint them, but we're gonna do like a bear. I'm just getting the basic shapes down, don't worry. Okay. What type of, I guess maybe like a poppy. You could do like California things, since this is freaking California. Okay. And I think after I do this, I'm gonna need to go take these guys out to go to the bathroom. These old dogs out to go to the bathroom. But I hope this felt pretty fun and encouraged you to make a sign that feels exciting to you. Maybe show up however you can to protest if you're in America. Um, know that I love you. And I'm so disappointed that this is what we're dealing with, but we've been dealing with it for a long time. It's been a long time coming, and we can do hard things. If you end up making a protest poster, DM it to me. I'd love to see. I will share updates about this if I have time, or the space. We're fostering a new dog right now, so we're kind of like the time where I can actually do a live stream is limited. But if I have time, I'll kind of share more process. But at a minimum, I'll share some progress photos of this and definitely take some photos out protesting of what the final one looks like. And I'll see you all soon. Make some noise. This is the time to stand up for our communities. There's no time like the present, and however that looks for you is however that looks for you, and it's great. I will talk to you all soon. Have a good Friday, and get some rest so you can show up. Bye, dudes.